So, how would you like society to engage with you? I mean, you've sort of said you can sense when somebody's having a panic attack, but for other people, you know, who are judging and don't understand, what would you like them to do?
I think just mostly just not think it's attention seeking.
Okay.
To understand that if someone's having a panic attack, you don't stare at them and look at them and make them feel like they're more isolated. Like if you have nothing that you can do, if nothing you can add to someone who you can see is struggling with anxiety or having a panic attack, then just don't do anything, you know. Maybe go and see if you can have someone else that can help out. Like if you don't understand, I think would be something that's better to do, because a lot of the time people do just stop and they stare at you and they're like, what is going on? Like almost like you're on some sort of drugs and you're like out of it, and that's how they're looking at you, like what on earth is this creature? And you're like, makes you feel worse. But I think people can only educate themselves more to learn about how to deal with it. I think it's something that you have to learn to deal with. You can't just like step into a panic attack and deal with it. It's something that takes time to learn for people outside as well as the people having that struggle. Like you can't just instantly be good at something. So I think being patient with people who are suffering, just as we're going to be patient with you trying to help.
What about, you know, and I don't mean to kind of stereotype people here, but mums are quite maternal. You know, if a mum was walking along, your instinct, if I was walking along and I saw you as a young lady, I think I would automatically want to, and this is probably the wrong thing, hold your hand or over fuss you. Is that completely wrong? Is it just best to talk calmly?
Some people that can make it 10 times worse. I wouldn't engage and touch unless you have consent to do so, if they have said that they need that or they go to reach out for something like that, because some people, touch is a very big trigger, I think, especially like for people who are like me, have been through sexual assault. If someone touches me and I'm freaking out, like it's just it's overwhelming. It's like I can't. It's a bubble, personal bubble, and it's like don't pop my bubble.
Okay, right.
Like I don't mind listening from the outside of the bubble, but I don't always want to have a fuss. I don't always want to be touched. Although sometimes I need a hug. And that's how to get out of it. It's very different depending on circumstance, which is why you should never just assume that you can just touch someone, you know, even like a back pat, which is like quite a friendly thing to do. It can push someone over the edge of like their, I don't know what to call it. I don't really know.
Like their triggers that take me even further into
or like beyond return sort of thing. Instead of pulling them out, just like giving them a shove in, like wee.
So would it be okay to just sort of say, are you okay? Can I help you?
Yeah.
And that's enough.
I've had, I think, down Gabriel's Hill in Maidstone, a girl with hairdressers saw that I was having a panic attack. She worked there. She ran out to come and help me. I was with my baby at the time, and she sat with me for, I think, 5-10 minutes, just trying to talk to me, just to make sure that I was okay. And like reassure me that if I am ever in that situation again, she said, I can always come into her hair salon. I can always talk to her. She understands it, which is quite nice, because obviously she ran out of her hair salon to come and deal with me, because she saw me halfway down the street having a panic attack. And I think that just being reassured that someone's there is really helpful, because then you don't feel so alone.
But not in your space, obviously.
Yeah,
okay, all right. I think that's really helpful for people, actually. Thank you. It sort of ties into the next question as well. You may have answered this, but how would you like society to make you feel fully included? When you're saying about with the self-harm, people judge.
Yeah.
But you know, and people think that the anxiety and the panic attacks are like attention seeking. Is there anything else apart from what you've already sort of said that society could do to fit? You know, you also used the words that so that you don't feel alone. What else can society do to help?
I think that's really difficult to answer, because society is a massive group of people. Like, I don't think
the general
there's like
public,
one
sort of. If you know, people like in here in the park or something like that, you know, what could they sort of? How could they? Well, that's not about being included, really, is it? I don't know. Friends and family. Let's start with friends and family. How could they help you? Just be patient and
I think a lot of it is being patient and not making that person feel like it's their fault.
Right.
because a lot of it is stigmatized, and it is all your fault. You know, if you have anxiety, that's on you. Like, and I think a lot of people have that view, and to not have that view, and to realize that it's not anyone's fault that they have any mental health condition. Really,
No.
it's not your fault.
No.
It's like when someone gets themselves into drugs and they're a drug addict now. They weren't before.
No.
And they could have been an amazing person before, but they went through something that damaged them, and now they can't get out of that damage. And it's very similar with mental health, and I think that it's a similar like stigma. So people look at someone who's on drugs and they think that's dirty.
Yeah.
But I don't ever think that. Like, of people that are homeless, like, I make effort to stop to people who are homeless, and I'll have a chat with them because I know what it's like. And they are people. I think that's the main thing to remember, is that people who have mental health, they're people. People who are homeless or on drugs, they're people. You know, we're all people. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to live our life, get by in the world, and deal with our own problems. And I don't think the people with anxiety, our problems are bigger, because they're not. Everyone has their big problems. Big problems are your own big problems. I think that's the big thing to understand, is that it's not a competition. A lot of people compete with their issues. So,
What, to see if they've got worse issues than somebody else? Really?
Yeah. I've seen a lot. So if you was like, oh yeah, I've had panic attacks for about a year, so you get someone going, oh yeah, I've had panic attacks for like 10 years.
Why?
And I don't know. That's a really big thing. Like, I think having people not do you know, it's not a competition. Just be there for each other, support each other, no matter what. Like, just help each other.
So I just want to ask you one other question. You said about you were homeless. How long were you actually homeless for?
Oh my God, not very long, to be honest. I think I was just a really chaotic child. I think my family couldn't deal with me because of my mental health issues. It made me very volatile, very violent, I was quite evil. So I was just, I think a couple of months I spent outside. I was 15.
Gosh.
Didn't want to live with anyone, and it was kind of my own fault. But then I ended up living in Trinity Foyer.
Yes, I know what that's. In Maidstone.
I was 16. So a month after I turned 16, I moved in there, and I was there for about a year and a half. And then I had a lot of help from a youth cafe down here called Switch.
Not heard of that.
Switch Youth Cafe. They're really, really, really good. They've pretty much saved my life. So it's the same as Trinity. They got me the mental health help that I needed. They were very supportive. I think that they're like a main place for young people to go for anything, you know. Like, they're really good with people who have autism, people who are struggling with like a drug addiction, because they've got people there that used to be addicted to drugs that are now helping young people.
Oh, wow.
And they helped me actually get into Trinity and helped me get basically my life set. Like, without them, I don't think I'd live in a house right now. Like, I don't think I'd have my baby. They did a lot to help me, and there was a lot of support there. So, like, I think young people would be really beneficial to go to places like that.
And is it a charity? Can people just go there then? They walk through the door and get help?
It is a youth cafe, so it is for young people, but you can go in there and you can chat about things, and then if they think that there's something more that they can do, then they'll do things that, you know, they can help.
Wow.
Like, when I was on my own and outside, like, I had a cold and they give me free honey and lemon tea and a cheese toastie, and they usually charged that, and they didn't have to do that, but they did it because they were, you know, they care about people.
Right.
And they're also very good at dealing with mental health and stuff, because they've seen a lot of it.
And you're saying they help people with autism as well, then, that go in there?
I think, yeah, people who have autism can go there for a bit longer than just the youth bit, because obviously their brains are a different level.
Yes.
But they're really good.